From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICB PrimeTime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And this is the PrimeTime Angles Live. And my man, the one and only Don the Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. What's going on, brother? How's everything going? I hope everything's good with you today, my man.
Yeah, we had a great weekend, capped off with a 2-0 Friday and a 4-0 Saturday to get a 6-game winning streak to end the week. Did our action parlay on Sunday. Colts money line. Wentz just tried to take over the game when you had Jonathan Taylor back there. So we end the week plus 2 units, and we're guaranteed at least a half unit winner in the World Series with a couple live Braves in the MVP plus 1,500 plus 3,000. So we're feeling good. We're feeling great, as you'd like to say. It's the first of the month, Pops, November 1st.
Yes, first of the month. Everybody knows what time it is. It's paydays, right? All that good stuff and other great other little entities that go into the first of the month, It's considered payday where the invoices finally get cashed out, right? So let's see what the day brings us, right? So pretty much a crazy day in the NFL somewhat. We had ourselves some a pretty crazy upset there with the Jets and the Bengals yesterday. I know a lot of us didn't see that one coming, but you know what? You knew it was trouble as soon as you saw the Bengals be a 11-point favorite on the road. That's something that they haven't seen probably in the last 40 years.
I didn't see Joe Mixon. Ickey Woods back there, Boomer Esiason, Chris Collinsworth. The glory days. I mean, that was just again, Bengals hot defense playing great. It was a tough spot for them. And let's be real. I mean, the kid, the quarterback stole the show, and hats off. They played hard, and they laid the egg the week before against the Patriots. So hats off to Salah as well. Got the team regrouped, focused, and it's a good one for them.
Well, we're gonna see. I think that we have ourselves a pretty crazy situation going on here in my neck of the woods right now. Blockbuster trade that sends Von Miller to the Rams for two second rounders. And you know what? The Rams are just absolutely telling all of us that they don't care. And I've said this for the last few years now. The Rams aren't building a team through the draft. They're building a team through established guys who are stars, and they want the star power for Hollywood, pretty much point blank. Now you got yourself three of the premier guys at on the defensive end. You have the Aaron Donald, considered the best defensive lineman in football. Von Miller, we all know he's the creme de la creme. At points in times, he was seen as the superior edge rusher in the game. And then you have Jalen Ramsey, one of the toughest corners you can come about as well, too. And he's taking care of that back end. So you see it now. Von Miller finally gets to Los Angeles. He spends a lot of time out here as well, too, Jeff. So I think the fit was absolutely perfect at this time. And it reminds me of when they acquired Talib as well, too, the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes, after the Cardinals lose on Thursday and they lose J.J. Watt for the season, and you nailed it. They're almost like duplicating what the Dodgers do, just more and more star power. We talked on on the bet exchange about, the probability of the Cardinals losing and potentially the Bucks losing. And here come the Rams now, tied in the NFC with one loss. A Arizona team now with one loss. Seattle wins big. Well, doesn't win big, but kind of destroys Jacksonville. So they're all in. And the fact of the matter is they lost Akers in the beginning of the year. They have Henderson, who's remained healthy, which has always been his biggest sticking point. They bring over Sony Michel. Cup's the number one wide receiver right now in the NFL. They still got Bobby Woods. Higbee, they're going to be definitely a team to reckon with. And I think a team who's already destroyed the Bucks at home. Rams get the home field advantage and could be very dangerous, Pops.
The Rams are looking right now like if you would say who's going to be in the Super Bowl, you would really want it. I would think that it would be a consensus that it would say the Rams because they brought in the monster quarterback. And it's crazy because it's almost like Stafford's 3 years too late because you wish he would have been here with Gurley because that would have made it even more epic in that situation. But Gurley's is done, but Henderson is a good little back as well too. So things are working out very well for the Rams. It comes from great drafting as well too over the years for this team. And the Rams just they put it together the right way since coming from St. Louis. And that's what happens when you have a rich owner who's willing to spend some of his money because they're all rich, but some of them are better at some of them have they're stuck in their ways. You know what I mean? They're good with what they have. You know what I mean? And it's you just tell yourself the football people should be able to make this work. But then sometimes you just got these owners that are rich and know that hey, I have to go the extra mile to make sure that I have a team in place that can be good year in and year out. And I think that a lot of people tried to duplicate what Bob Kraft and them did with the budget, but I think that with all the winning that happened in New England, it doesn't really matter how much what happens when you pay people. You know what I mean? You can move on from people because you're playing within the system. But when you're in New York and you're in LA, Chicago, and you have a big time team, you try to bring in as many big names as possible so you can keep those seats filled up. And since you have this brand new stadium that's very expensive to get into, you want to make sure that you sell the house out every Sunday. And that means you have to win a championship. So the way you win a championship is you win it with guys who are all stars. You put together the ultimate fantasy football team in a sense. You know what I mean? Because look at it, they even have Deshaun Jackson who wants to leave, but still Deshaun Jackson's there. He's a part of that situation as well too. So you have I think maybe 7 possible Hall of Famers out there on the Rams roster as is. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to think of at this point right now. And I'm not even a Rams backer like that, but I have to be honest with you. They wouldn't have done this if they were in St. Louis. You have to do it in LA, and you have to try to become LA's darling. And that's exactly what the Rams are trying to do. If the Rams are able to win a Super Bowl, they'll become the talk of the town. And because right now it's a Laker Dodger situation, but the Rams, they win this title, they can go ahead and be in the mix of things as well too, and maybe even be bigger because they play at the prettiest stadium. They got the richest owner, and pretty much they're in position to put themselves in a championship parade down Manchester. It is what it is, or somewhere in LA, but it takes time. This team is still got that, runner up feel to it as well, too. You know what I mean? And when I say runner up, that means that you don't quite look like a champion yet. I haven't seen the Rams in a tough one yet. I want to see how Stafford responds to one of those games, Jeff, to be honest with you. One of those games that he used to lose a lot in Detroit.
And that's going to be the situation come playoff time is when you get matched up against the Brady, when you get matched up against the Rodgers. you're going to really have to dig deep and say, okay, do you take the better defense and hope Stafford doesn't make any mistakes versus a Rodgers or a Brady? And I don't know where at the end of the season where the Cardinals will be. They're starting to show a few chinks in their armor, but you got to match up against the Bucks and Brady and Rodgers and Green Bay to get to that platform. And then when you look over to the AFC, you have, a younger Josh Allen, Lamar. Is Baltimore going to make that run? And then, of course, is Kansas City going to find a way to put the pieces together? So Rams are putting themselves in a perfect spot. Tomorrow's the trade deadline. Let's see if anything else breaks. But hats off. I like what they're doing. They have no draft picks anymore. So, again, might as well put it all on the line, put it on the field, and let's see what happens.
All right. So, I'm man, it's crazy. And then I think it just right before we leave off on the NFL, I think that quite possibly Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be getting traded tomorrow. By tomorrow. I think it has to happen for the Browns, just to get some assets and get something out of that deal, because New York knew something. That's why they kind of just handed him over. And I know the Browns thought that they were on to something pretty blockbuster when they brought him in to play with his best friend, Jarvis Landry, but just didn't work out. And I think that the best bet for everybody is to part ways. And I think that if you say you were somebody like, say, who's in a playoff position right now to make a big move, that could be your big move right there. And it's funny to me, I think that for somehow, some way, this guy's going to wind up being in Tampa Bay. Because when Tom Brady's throwing the ball to a guy who's never played college football and was a track star in a football game, what's going on with the receivers in Tampa? Is it only Mike Evans and is Goodwin kind of hurt? And I know that AB's kind of been gimpy a little bit the last few weeks. So do you think that the rich might want to get richer?
I mean, the ideal spot for him to go is Green Bay, but Green Bay never makes these kind of moves. Pops, I've been on this OBJ kick for a while now, and I always get chastised on Sundays because I, for some reason, despise the guy. Ever since the catch in the Monday night game for the Giants, he got put on that platform. He was a star. He is stud. You could see it at LSU. He makes that catch on the Giants. It just launches him. And ever since that catch, he's more off the field, upstairs. Giants got out of the contract, got rid of the cancer. I call it a cancer. He moves to the Browns, and listen, they've been itching to move him for the last year and a half now. So Green Bay would be the perfect spot. They don't make moves like that. Trying to think outside the box, maybe a Raven team across, put him across the other side of Hollywood. Brown. Buffalo wouldn't make a move like this. I'll tell you where the ideal landing spot is, and it's not a playoff team. Okay, and maybe it's not the ideal, but what about Atlanta? Ridley's going through some mental health things. And again, I don't know, when he didn't go to London, I first thought it might be COVID issues or something. And now this came out and he's going to be out for a while now. And I don't know what demons he's battling with, but I think calling up Atlanta and say, hey, I know you're having problems with Ridley. You got Pitts, but hey, here's a potential landing spot for you. Might not help you get to the playoffs this year, but it's something that you could build on for the future.
And then there's always Miami.
There you go.
There's always Miami. There's always Miami. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next topic at hand. The Astros last night put together a monster rally, stay alive in the World Series. Now we're headed back to Houston for Game 6 and possibly Game 7. Do you think that the Braves bounce back, or do you think that this might have been the death blow to a great run by the Atlanta Braves? Because you know how they are. How they get.
Okay, the Red Sox, win Game 2 in Houston, blow them out in Game 3 in Boston. The whole world was theirs, and one bad inning transformed into losing, Game 5 and then Game 6. Yeah, I think more people are disappointed because Atlanta hit the grand slam in the first inning, so they're up 4-0. Might as well get the bubbly, as I said on the breakfast bankroll, get the cootery board all set, some nice cheese and crackers, and get ready to celebrate. Well, the Astros get 2 in the second, 2 in the third. They tie it, and then Freeman hits a ball that still hasn't landed 460 feet, but they came back and won. Here's the one thing with the Braves. They got the pitching set up. They got Fried tomorrow, and they got Anderson in Game 7. And with Urquidy pitching last night, Houston's going to go to Garcia. So yes, they got the home field advantage. It's going to be rocking. I still think the Braves win 1 out of the next 2. I don't know if it's tomorrow. Fried has not pitched well at all, but if he bounces to the real Fried to pitch the second half, I think the Braves can get it done in 6. If not, I think the Braves find a way to win 1 out of the next 2 pucks.
All right. Well, how I'm feeling, I'm gonna go with my first mind like I've been doing, and I've been on the Astros to win this series, and I think that this is their redemption moment. It is a tough place to win at in Houston at Minute Maid Park. I'm going there this year, seeing a game live for myself. It is a tough atmosphere because you have what I would like to call real baseball fans. You know what I mean? They're not there to just get some popcorn and, look at the stadium, take pictures with the statues and stuff. No, they're into the game. They're intense. They know the pitch counts, all that good stuff. What pitcher is doing this and what batter is doing that. So they're going to be into this game, and it's going to be very, very loud. And I think that this is going to work in the Astros' favor because this gets them rejuvenated. But I know what a lot of people are thinking. The Braves went out there and absolutely kicked their butts game 1 in Houston. So it didn't really matter how well of a home crowd, how big of a home field advantage this is. We're going to go out here and it's going to motivate us even more to beat you. And, the Braves took that into LA to win the one key game that they needed to win the series because, Jeff, me and you both know this. If we play that series in Los Angeles, honestly, I don't think that the Dodgers lose the series. But when you put the series in Atlanta in the 2 final closeout games, then you put your back against the wall with the great home crowd that you have there in Atlanta. And now the games 6 and 7 were in Atlanta. I would say, yeah, Atlanta should be able to win this World Series. But their opportunity to win the World Series was last night, in my opinion. They did everything possible that it takes to be right in the cherry spot of winning the ring. And then they start off with a grand slam. You start off with a grand slam in a closeout game. You know how electric your crowd gets. But then when you have a team beat you with good old fashioned baseball, they ain't have to beat you the power style. They beat you the long way. Chip, 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 chip. That's the annoying way to beat you too, Jeff. You know that. Where you get these little grounders and these little hops and these little lucky situations.
See, I would agree with you with that situation, but here's the problem. When you're set up in a 2-3-2 series, okay, the objective for the road team is to get a split, okay? And then when you come home, you got to take 2 out of 3. Now, with that being said, I didn't think the Braves were set up to sweep the Astros at 3 at home. So that's why coming back home with your 2 aces set up, that's why I think the Braves are going to find a way. Going back to your Dodgers against Atlanta, you didn't get the split in Atlanta. That was the problem, Pops. You needed to split in Atlanta. You needed to take game 2 with Max. And then you got back home. You needed to take 2 out of 3 there to then come back to Atlanta to split. You didn't do that either.
Right.
And so different situation. I think, listen, there's no doubt in my mind that the Houston can hold serve and win this thing. They're going to need a lot to break. They're going to need some length out of whoever starts these games. They're going to need some offense, good fielding, good base running. Can they do it? Of course they can. The back's against their wall, though. I mean, they're going to have 2 guys that can shut them down. Fried hasn't done it yet. Anderson no hit him through 5. So you usually don't come back with that kind of start, though. So it's going to be interesting. Hey, I'd like to see baseball, on Tuesday and Wednesday. Why the hell not?
Right. So, as I said before, and I think we talked about it as soon as the series started, this had 7 written all over it because it wasn't going to be that interesting of a World Series because of the teams that were going to be involved in it. But the competitive portion of it it called for it to be a 7-game World Series because these are some of the best players in baseball, especially when it comes to the hitting side of this thing. Freddie Freeman, awesome hitter. Carlos Correa, awesome hitter. I mean, these guys are box office names. They lived up to their high potential that they had coming into the major leagues as well, too. That's what you gotta love about the baseball. The best are gonna show up. You know what I mean? It's really they'll entitle some guys for the first little run, but if you're not good, then you're back in the minors. It's that simple. You know what I mean? It's because he was a first round draft pick, we have to make sure he's on the team for the next 10 years. No, if he's a first round draft pick and he sucks, he's going to be in AA for the next 7 years. It's that simple. Or retire because they're not going to sit there that long with you if you're a high pick and you don't pan out. Somebody else takes you on, then they might want to force it because you're a draft pick, or they just outright release you. Baseball is really, just very thankless sometimes. Probably the most thankless of all sports because they don't have to be that tied to you, but they do guarantee your money. Big difference between the other two. The other two do guarantee your money, but the NFL, it's difficult. NBA, you might be burning through your money before you even know it. But baseball, you're always gonna be good. Pay wise, and now they're gonna be good living wise too. In the minor leagues and stuff, they said that they are now going to pay for the house board. I thought they always paid for the house board. I didn't get it. And they say, and then they're like, well, the guys that are the millionaires, they can get wherever they want. I said, well, if you're a AAA guy and you got teammates that are, not living in great, maybe help out a little bit, get the big compound.
During the pandemic, there were some of those guys like David Price and a few others that actually paid these guys salary out of their pocket because the MLB wasn't. And we're gonna be in trouble here once the season's over. You go into the hot stove in December, but the contract is up, and it's just going to get ugly.
Well, it's good to have it at that point of the year, at this
fine.
point of the year, than at the midpoint of the year like last time, 94.
I don't think they're going to start the season. Unless they can break through this. It could be ugly, and it's going to be sad because this is the one sport that's on life support. The millennials, the game's too slow for them. It's us old timers that sit up and watch this stuff day in, day out, and we enjoy it, but the other guys don't. So that's the greed factor, the billionaires versus the millionaires, and it's going to get ugly before it gets better, pups.
Well, that's how it is with all these new labor talks. Money is different nowadays. Everybody wants their big piece of the pie. All right, so let's go ahead, jump into this Monday Night Football real quick. Even though we talked about it on NFL Bet Exchange, we got to talk about it again because it's Monday. And Monday Night Football. This is not one of the better matchups for Monday Night Football. This is one of those Monday Night Football matchups. That's why you always love to get a good chuckle in when it's knowing that this is on ESPN and they schedule like how they used to schedule Sunday Night Football, where they will have a really, really good team in the NFL, maybe a former champ from the year before, play against a team that's probably on the downside of things, but they are a traditional team like the Giants, and they set this game up because they know they can get some ratings for it because the matchup, right? But they know what they're doing is they're setting this up as a showcase for the superstar. We all know this, for the superstar to have himself a big game, and this is exactly what this game is building up to. Even though I like the Giants with the 10.5. I think that there's some value in the Chiefs tonight, making them a 6.5 for the first half tonight, and a 3.5 in the first quarter as well too. A lot of us expect the Chiefs to come out very, very strong in this game today. What are you thinking, Jeff?
I've peeled this back as much as I could, and I looked at the 6.5. I look at the 10.5, and I have to dig real deep. What sticks out to me is that the Giants team total is 20 and a hook. And so if you are betting on the Giants tonight, you need them to get to 21, 23, or 24. And the Chiefs team total is 30 and a hook, or 31 in some spots. So the ideal number is 31-17, 30-17. You get the KC cover. This is supposed to be a get fat, get healthy game for the Chiefs. They have been butt ugly. We have talked endlessly every Thursday, every Monday, and you've been spot on. I even have to laugh every time I see a Mahomes commercial. I mean, he's got more commercials out there than Baker Mayfield right now, which is kind of tough to do. So my honest 2 cents is this: is if you're playing the full game, buy the hook, take it down to 10. If you're playing the first half, the key there is the Giants at 10.5 under. And Kansas City is 16.5 over. Is it going to be 17-10 first half, or do the Giants sneak up and get to 13? So I think KC gets fat today. I like KC across the board here. Win the turnover battle. Mahomes can't be throwing 2 and 3 picks. I think the defense puts some pressure on Jones. No Barkley. I think it's the Chiefs tonight, Pops.
Yeah, most without a doubt. It's like this is perfect timing for the Chiefs, because when you look at it, they did play against a very tough Titans team. We can all put that in there into fruition. But one thing about them, the Chiefs this season, is that they beat up on the NFC, beat up on the Eagles, beat up on Washington. Now it's Dallas's turn. Only team that they'll probably have an issue with is the Cowboys. And, we'll talk about that in a bit, but boy, Cowboys, this team just keeps running 30 more plays than everybody. Everybody keeps being like, how do they keep winning at the end like this? Because they've literally killed the other defense. Like, these guys are done. 100 defense is out there for 100 plays. How do you lose? You can't lose a game like that. You know what I mean? And the Cowboys keep winning those games simply because they're doing it the good old-fashioned way, the Landry way. But yeah, Monday Night Football really isn't a big talkity talk type situation. We kind of know it's a clear-cut situation tonight. If the Giants win, God bless them. That's a great feat for them. That's a monster upset, but it's going to be really, really tough for them to win this game tonight, to be honest with you. No Saquon, no their linemen, a few of their linemen are out who are very key. And Daniel Jones is a middling quarterback at best. If he's above average, possible shot that they could keep it close, but I think it's a blowout as well too. But I think that the 10.5 is reasonable. So don't be scared to take the Giants, because I wasn't. But that doesn't mean I need to take them throughout the whole game.
Let me ask you a question that I was asked today.
Yep.
You're the Browns GM. Who would you rather have next year as your starting quarterback, Baker or Daniel Jones?
Baker.
Okay.
Yep. Easily.
Well, I just Baker can't make the throw. Daniel can make the throws. There's no one there to throw to. There's no one, and Daniel can run. And Baker, like I said, they're going to be in that quandary. They're not going to pay him $35-40 million. I wouldn't. I mean, if they do, they're crazy. That's why Baker's playing through the torn labrum, because he's playing for next contract. He don't want to see Case go out there and win these games. So, but that was a question that was brought up to me, and it's kind of intriguing because I think that the Giants are trending in the Judge gone, OC gone, and probably back into the quarterback drafting, where last year was the year to go back in and get a quarterback, not next year.
Right. Exactly. I agree. All right. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers, and then we'll talk some NBA as well, too, with these NBA games that I'm previewing for the Super High Five tonight. All right. So with that, this is the Premier Sports Bet Show, the Primetime Angles Live, and we will be right back.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
What's up? We are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Real quick, let's jump into the Lakers and what they did last night. State of the Lakers as well, too. The Lakers were damn good last night, even though it was only the Rockets, but still, there was a good win for the Lakers. They played very good basketball, but then they showed that this team is going to be tough for them to hold a lead because they get a little bit too comfortable. And when you get a little bit too comfortable, that might be a recipe for disaster. That's why you blow a 26-point lead against a team that got beat by double digits in the 3 out of the first 4 games that they played in. Like, and they get beat bad. They were thorough beatdowns of the Thunder to start the year off, and then the Lakers were beating them down, and then they let up for some odd reason, and they wind up losing the game. Now, Friday, they almost ran into a little bit of disaster against the Cavaliers because the Cavaliers have this thing that is very unprecedented in today's basketball. It's something that's kind of going against the script of what they want basketball to be like nowadays. They had 3 7-footers starting, Jeff, and it was absolutely amazing because they all can do everything that the guards can do, except for Jared Allen, who's a natural center. But Evan Mobley has proven his point that he's going to be the Rookie of the Year, without a doubt. Rookie of the Year. Yes, sir. And then you have Lauri Markkanen, who's an absolute monster, who's a 7-foot, who's the Tom Chambers reborn with a jump shot. Yeah, crazy, I know. And then you got Garland and Sexton, who are 2 of the best young guards in the league that get no love because they play for the Cavaliers. So that wound up being a tough game for them throughout. They were down 11 at one point in that game, but wound up winning the game because they're a better team. You know what I mean? The Cavs still have not turned that corner yet. And then you have the last night you got the kid Jalen. He's really good. I think that he's going to wind up being a pretty good 10, 12-year player in the NBA, scoring wise. Champion, I don't know. But, they got Kevin Porter Jr., who's pretty good as well, too. Very, very good player. And they got a lot of things work. They got a bright future there in Houston somewhat. It's going to take some time to get back to where they want to be. But the Lakers, though, they have been able to get Carmelo Anthony in rhythm. And by getting the Carmelo Anthony in rhythm, you get that third scorer that the Lakers have been dying for. He scored 28 on Friday. He scored 23 the other night, 51 points over the weekend. So he's averaging 25 points in total these last 2 games. So that works out very well with LeBron's 30 and with AD's 20 to 25, 30 points. Instead of having this community effort, they actually just got it done with another superstar. And Westbrook, yeah, he's really good. He's great, but Westbrook is not scoring at the clip that we're used to Westbrook scoring at. So Carmelo coming off the bench, that solidifies the bench points and makes everything work out a bit better for the Lakers than even the minimal fan would expect. Jeff.
NBA is fantastic, meaning these teams are it's just a feeling out process in my mind. We released 2 games last week in the NBA, and both times, great first half, and then it was the Grizz the other night, up 3 at halftime, get outscored by 17 in the third, and then start the fourth quarter 14-1 run against them. And then looking at tonight's card, there's some intriguing numbers, but your Lakers is just a work in progress. Like we said last Monday, you probably take a look at the last 4 or 5 guys on that bench. I don't think they'll be there come trade deadline. I think you guys are going to weed out what's working, what's not working. I stated in the preseason, you now have your big 3. With that load management, there shouldn't be a game where at least 2 out of the 3 aren't playing. So if AD wants a night off, then LeBron and Westbrook play. If LeBron needs a game off, then it's AD and Westbrook, and then so on. And then start working that bench and find out what's working, what's not working. You'll be fine. Are you going to be the number 1 seed? I don't think you will. You're going to be the 2, 3, or 4 and get a home court advantage? I think you will. But just don't be the 8 or 9 seed in the bubble like last year. That's all.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. They'll get it together. And I'm not worried about really anything when it comes to the Lakers. It's just that, I just want to have something to chat about. They got a good win last night, won the game by 10 points. We're held up under 100 points, but it's all good. You got to get the wins, but the NBA is returning back to those days where you're going to have 75 to 77 games again. Simply because the way that the refs are getting tired of calling the bad calls. It's that simple. They've been chastised way too much about it with the higher ups, and it feels like the game's not as fluid as it should be when they're calling unnecessary fouls. So they had to get back to a place where, hey, you know what? If a guy breathes on you, he just breathed on you. We're not going to blow the whistle about it.
Pops, well, last year in the pandemic, it was brought up, dropping it down to like that 60-game schedule. And it was brought up that, you had the Olympics to boot. So the thought, the NBA's day is Christmas Day. They got the 5 games on the slate. I don't know if there'll be any NFL this year. I haven't looked that far into the schedule. Sometimes you sprinkle in a few college tournaments. But my point is, I know it's all about money. I know it's all about greed. These guys get that load management because it's 82 games. I mean, there's no reason to start up in October. Hey, listen, I'd like to say start at Christmas Day, run it through till the end of May. And then, June and July is your playoffs and you crown a champion. You get a few months off and start over. But again, like the NFL, they won't budge. Everything is slotted in, between the draft, then the league, the summer league in Vegas. They don't want to take away from any chances to make some money. So it is what it is, Pops.
Yes, sir. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and get into these games real quick. All right, up first, we got the Spurs and the Pacers. This should be a good one. I do like what we see here. I think both teams match up pretty well here too, as well, Jeff. I think that the Spurs, it's a new day with the Spurs. It's not, they don't have a superstar. It's that simple. And I think their closest thing to a superstar would be Delonte West, but not Delonte West, but the kid, their point guard. Pretty much, I think he would be what they would consider the star of the team at this point. But things work itself out. But I think all in all, in this game right here, Pacers have got off to a really, really bad start when they got Carlisle back as the coach too. And you would think that this team would have been much better with a guy like Sabonis, who was an All-Star last year, Brogdon, who was a big-time signee, and Miles Turner, who's a very freaky center. You know what I mean? And they're just not playing up to par. But I think that what happens tonight is the Spurs make this game really close. I want to say the Spurs win it, but I would say that the spread could be a smart play for a year as well, too. So over under 217 as well. But I think that the Spurs should be in good shape tonight in a spot like this one. Both these teams have started off the season dreadful. They have a combined record of 3-13.
That was the other loss that we had there. We had the Pacers at home against the Bucks, and they got lambasted there. Looking here, Spurs 2-4 versus a 1-6 Pacer team. Under over opened at 218 and a hook. Now 216 and a half to 216 on the Vegas strip. Pacers opened up threes all across Vegas. 2.5 at South Point right now. I don't know which team's going to show up for either side. I think the Pacers definitely have been a big disappointment. Some experts had them as one of the dark horses coming out east, and they've been butt ugly. But it is what it is. No real feel for the game. Slight lean. Pacers to win the game. That's where I would lean here, Pops.
All right, so we move forward. And let's go ahead and get into the Blazers and the Sixers. The Blazers and the Sixers. This is a fun little game tonight. You got Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum going against Joel Embiid and his team and his crew. And I think that tonight this one is more of a scoreboard watching game. I expect some scoring here from both sides, and I think that they wind up running up the score tonight, and we get ourselves one of the games that we're used to getting in the NBA as well too. So I love the over/under of 219. It's actually crept up to 220 on most boards, as you know, but the early line for it was 219. But I think that getting over 220 is a good spot tonight, and I think that it does happen.
Computer model and opening line of 5 now is 2. Embiid is out. Obviously, we know Simmons is out as well. Philly at 4-2, Portland at 3-3, still 2-point favorites. So Vegas is still being pretty stubborn with the Sixers here today. Portland travels from west to east. Lean again, slight lean. Sixers to find a way to win this game.
All right, so we move on. Bulls at the Celtics. You already know, a big night tonight at the Gatton, baby. You already know. And it's like a game of NBA jams tonight. You got Zach. Yeah, NBA jam tonight. You know, you got Zach, you got DeMar and Zoe going against the boy Tatum and Brown. You know what I mean? And pretty much a big game for them the other night as well too. Just Jaylen Brown is playing absolutely berserk right now. Tatum's doing what he always does, but Jaylen is just different right now. You know, the guy has had a couple 35-plus point performances the last few nights and things like that, and it's like becoming so natural for him to do that. So I know this is something that is the Celtic fans are getting excited about. I know they want to keep their puppies together, but you know what, though? One puppy might have a little bit more ambition than the other. So I truly do think that tonight, though, the Celtics entertain the home crowd on a Monday night. I don't know what the weather is like today. Is it crispy? Is it calm? Is it chilly?
It's actually pretty nice.
It's a nice fair day out in the Northeast. I think that that's going to go ahead and reflect very well on their boys in the green. And I think that the Celtics wind up getting themselves a good win tonight, Jeff.
I had to laugh because, listen, the Celtics have been awful. Jaylen Brown has been my baby for a while now. Yeah, Tatum gets all the stardom, all the limelight, the diva. You nailed it, by the way, Pups. These two are not going to live together. I think, before his contract's up, I can see the Celtics moving Tatum out west and getting as many assets as they can and build around Brown. That's what I would do. But with that said, I mean, a Celtic team that's 2-4 versus the Bulls 5-1. Bulls playing great ball. A computer model has it at 1.5. Line opened at 2, and it's at 2.5. So, what this is telling me is this: that the real Celtics will finally show up. And you're right. I think they put on a show, and I think they cover the 2.5. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what these numbers are telling me. Okay. But if I slept through tonight's game and woke up and saw that the Bulls won by double digits, I wouldn't be shocked either.
Right. This is a very split game. It can go either way. And really, with the fans and fan portion of it, that's how it's looking to me as well, too, Jeff. So we'll see how this one comes out to be. But I think that we're into something. It should be a fun game tonight. And that's all I can say is that you got two of the more funner teams in the NBA, one of the better NBA matchups as well, too. Both these teams they have their history, and that's what's fun about the Celtics and the Bulls. So we'll see what they can do tonight. It should be good. All right, we move on. We got the Hawks and the Wizards, and the Wizards are the road team tonight. And I'm just going to be honest with you, Jeff. I'm just going to be very quick about this, and I'm going to tell you like this. I like the way the Wizards are coming in this game. Montrezl Harrell is playing great basketball right now. Brad Beal is doing Brad Beal things as per usual. So I think that, honestly, this one right here looks like, the Hawks will probably be an oversell in this spot. A lot of people probably will feel the Hawks could dominate this spot. But you know what, though, Jeff? I'm going to go out on the limb, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Wizards as my dog in the day today. I think that they're going to be up to it, and they're going to get themselves a nice little win down here in Atlanta tonight.
Yeah, a lot of buzz about the Wizards and Beal, and like you said, they're playing great ball. They just beat the Celtics in a double OT game over the weekend. A Hawks team right now that's 3-3. The Wizards 5-1. Computer model says 5.5. Pinnacle says 5. They throw it out there at 5. It jumped right to 5.5. I think that the ice tray is a lightning rod for a lot of the betting public in D-Gens. They're at home, only -2.5. That over-under looks a little low to me, but you know what happens if I release an over. This final score will be 100-98, so I stay away from the totals. But I like where your head is here, Pops. I think that Wizards come out early and often, try to control the pace, keep it to a lower scoring game. I think they got a good shot.
And that's what I'm seeing tonight as well, too. And then I think that they just have a little bit more right now as a unit, to be honest with you. The Hawks are playing good basketball, but I think that they're a good 5-6 deep team. The Wizards are running about 8-9 deep right now, and I think that's going to be too much for the Hawks tonight in this spot.
Great.
All right, so we move on, and we got the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. I can't wait for Jamal Murray to get back, one of my favorite players in the NBA. Hopefully he returns back to form as well, too. And then you have Jokic. Jokic is one of my favorite players. I feel like he's the 7-foot version of Steve Nash in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, he plays the game the right way, the way that they teach you at the camp. You know what I mean? So you got Jokic, but they've been struggling as well too, the Nuggets. But they've been trying to get it together. You got Michael Porter Jr. coming into his own, possible All-Star this year too. He's getting All-Star money. He got a crazy contract, Jeff, for a guy who's never been to an All-Star game and only played about maybe 40% of the games of his career. Like, wow. But he was a steal because he was supposed to be the first pick in the draft if those injuries didn't set upon him in college. We both know this. So when you look at tonight's game, Ja Morant, the man, this is another one for Ja to try to get off in. because this is against one of the better seen teams in the NBA. And, they're getting a lot of love at home tonight, in my opinion. The Grizzlies have turned the corner, but most don't want to say that. They have one of the more athletic units in the league as well, too. And then the way that Ja leads this team is they believe in anything he's doing. So when you have a guy like that, you have that Iverson type effect. And I think that's exactly what Memphis is reminding me of, in a sense, those early Sixers teams with Iverson. When he was coming into his own, they were starting to make the playoffs and things like that. Then they bring in Larry, and Larry Brown's brought in as the coach, and blase. Iverson becomes more of a household name, and more people start to attach themselves to the Iverson brand, things like that. I think this Ja Morant's in the same fold as that, because this is his breakout season. I know we know who he is, but this is going to be the year where Ja Morant gets mentioned in a lot of different platforms that are outside the NBA, in my opinion. And I think that's the year. But when it comes to the game, I feel like it will go under. I think defense will be at a premium tonight.
The game opened at 1.5. It now it's got the flip where now Denver is 1.5 and 1. You can get it at 1 at the Circa, 1 at Westgate, and 1 at the Wynn. Jokic is active. Obviously, Murray is still out, and Morant is questionable. So with that flip, I think people are leaning that Ja might be out tonight, and that's why you're getting the quick jump on to Denver. Tip-off's not till 8:10, so keep your eyes on that. But currently, everyone wants to run to the window when the stars are out, and a perfect example, we talked about it on the Bet Exchange on Thursday. I took Minnesota because the line told me that Dak was not playing, okay? Dallas went from 2-point favorites to 2.5-point underdogs on Thursday. And that, to me, told me it didn't matter what Dak did on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday pregame and all that. He wasn't playing. Vegas made a statement to me. And right here, it's kind of sort of telling me Vegas doesn't think Ja's going to play. But that doesn't mean that the Grizzlies can't win, because Ja's worth more than 2 points. But it is what it is. Just tread lightly on that game.
Agreed. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stretch drive of the show, and that's going to be those talking tickets, Jeff. Talking them tickets, yeah. All right, so tonight in talking tickets, this is where I'm going. Blazers +3, over 220. Blazers Sixers, Celtics money line -135. Wizards +180. The under 215.5. Nuggets Grizzlies, and give me the 32-1 here as well too, Jeff. That's going to be a nice ticket right there. 100 gets you 3,200. 50 gets you 1,600, and 20 gets you 640. 640. All right, so single what you like, and we go from there. Then Monday Night Football, I'm not going to be too crazy here. I'm just going to go over 52. I think that this is a 40-point game tonight for the Chiefs, to be honest with you. But with how bad their defense is, the Giants will manage to score some points, because they do figure out ways to score points. We do know that. Because Saquon Barkley is a great running back, but they got another, but his backup's pretty good too. So, yeah, so they'll be okay in that department. So I expect some points coming in this game. Then I love the 6.5 in the first half. That looks like, but this could be a trap, Jeff. It could be a trap, because it's a 6.5 first half, and I've seen this really work against bettors a lot. Where this will go to the where it be you get to take the -6.5 and you're down 10 at the half, but they still win by 7 later on. Like, damn it. And then we got the Chiefs over 31 team total tonight as well too, Jeff. And that's what I'm doing here, and that's what it is, man. So we'll see how it goes, but that is talking tickets for tonight.
And always remember that single
life. Yep. Sing what you like. Single what you like. You gotta get it. Shout out to Cameo. But all in all, Jeff, any last parting words before we go?
week 8's complete. We'd like to say we're at the halfway point, but we have an extra week, obviously. So, injuries. We didn't talk about, Henry, probably out for the season. Tennessee was nice, and they said he's out 6 to 10 weeks. So, anyone in fantasy land, you can cut him. He's not coming back anytime for your playoffs. So Don't be a fool to hold on to him. And then Jameis out for the season. So like in the NFL or anything else, they're dropping like flies. It's a war of attrition, and that's what sports wagering is. It's a day-to-day grind. Listen, this is no get rich quick. This is no, call me and I'm going to make you a millionaire, because it just doesn't work that way. So it's a marathon. What I like to tell people very simply is this: if you look down at your sneakers and you got holes in them, go to the store. Go get yourself a new pair of Nikes. Join the marathon. And, it's just a day at a time. It's one unit, one game at a time. That's all. And me and Pops are the OGs of Twitter. I mean, we've been here for a long, long time, and we're going to be here a long time. So buckle up. Enjoy the ride. Any questions, reach out. Ask a question. Follow us. We'll follow you. It's that simple.
All right. You heard the man. So with that, as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. If you bet with your head, not with your heart, the movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson. And we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.